So here's a simple video about my latest project. I wanted to try narrative in a different way, so I've gone with clan Skryre. The idea being that it doesn't have to be super complicated and huge amounts of background that you have to invent to actually play narrative. So how do we start off? Well, rather than looking at point sizes and what's efficient and that way of playing, which is fine, but wasn't really for me, I start with the background, and the background says we obviously have clan Skryre with an arch warlock who's looking after engine covens. So let's start building engine covens. So here's the first one. So we've got our rattle gauge. The idea with these, they're tabletop standard, simple. Some of the conversions are literally conversions of convenience, in that I had some models and I had some Mechanicum kits which made quite good guns, so that was super easy. When it comes down to the warlock that controls each one, again some simple kit bashes to kind of get them to work. So very simple. The observant among you will notice that I've only got two Storm Fiends in this coven. Ultimately I don't have enough for every coven. I don't really need hundreds and hundreds of Storm Fiends, so we're just displaying them now with a couple in each. We go over to Gauntfire. So again, simple conversion for the warlock, nice and simple, and beginnings here of a team that can do some good. And again, I'm going to mix these Storm Fiends up. They're going to be different units, and I've gone for a mix of weapon types. Next up we have Gas Cloud, and again we've got a warlord who is, if I can get him in focus, a warlord who is one of the old models, and then I've used the Blood Bowl team with some bits and pieces added on to turn them into acolytes, some plague mortars, and of course Storm Fiends, which you have to have in every coven. Then my favourite one, of course, has to be the Doom Wheels and Doom Flayers, which makes up this coven. So again, here what the idea here, and this is what I'm trying to do here, is rather than make up a load of background right from the beginning, we will learn how these things evolve through play. So this was my original warlock. Again, just a little bit of, if I can get him in focus, just a little kit bash there, nice and simple. But in a game, he went through a shadow that was being put out in the battlefield, the Battle of Angels, and he came back with a secret about Warpstone. So he's actually had an upgrade. So we've now given him this little kit bash here, where he's got his own little mini Doom Wheel, which is just a part, which is the old metal one that I've got off eBay, kit bashed with some of the plastic kit. So simple. Then also he got touched by the realm of death in a game, so because these are tabletop and not super complicated, I'm really happy to go in and cut them about and change them. So in this case he got touched by death, so he's actually losing a bit of flesh off that arm there, so we've got a little skelly arm in there. Little touches, not that I had to make up, it happened in the game. So we need someone to control all this up, so we come over to command here. And what we've got here is, first of all, some allies. So we've got some freelancing Eschen. They really help make a little difference. And the idea is that our warlord will hire them in to do a job here and there. We've got some other characters, and in this case, these characters are a way of making the game perhaps a little bit more competitive. It gives it a multi-purpose. So we've got our Pack Master and our Plague Priest and a Grey Seer to add in there, and a big boy, because everyone likes a Vermin Lord in there just to be overseeing everything that's going on. And then we just come down to the Arch Warlock himself. I've called him Warp Digger. He goes around with his friends who are his bodyguard. He never leaves home without them, as every brave Skaven would. So quickly just carrying on. Now a bunch of objective markers. So we've got sewer entrances, and then some other fun bits and pieces, some stockpiles and some entrances. And then, of course, wonder what we could do to move around in. So we've got this little piece here, which is a kind of an audio periscope, if you like, very Skryre hopefully, which is magnetized and which goes up here, which is in fact the drill. So this is the underminer. So the underminer, big drill bit up front. We then have our control panel. We have a torpedo, or of course it's called a warpedo. So the warpedo goes in the tube here, gets fired out underground. We've got the engines at the back, and we've got these decks here. So excuse the wobbly camera for a minute. These are the load up points for our doom wheels, and obviously plenty of room for crew on board. So how am I going to keep growing this army? Well, I'm going to use this trusty little journal from GW, but instead of writing down points and wounds, and I'm actually writing little stories. So each game I play, I'm a few in only really at the minute, will have descriptions, have notes, have different warlocks who had a good game, who had a bad game, who's gaining influence. This is something I'm working on as well. Even down to a few little diagrams to remind me what happened. So this will become the book of all things that our hero Warp Digger is going to do. I hope you like it. Bye.